right, now we go to Julie Gunlock, Director of the Independent Women's Forum Center for Progress and Innovation. Julie, welcome back. Great to be with you. A lot to talk about today, but first, I want to get your thoughts on the rulings for mifepristone and where you think this all goes from here.
Pro-life groups have been asking for judges to review the FDA's approval process for this drug for years. This judge has done nothing wrong. And what we see from AOC and Senator Wyden is more of this Dobbs hysteria, this idea that, abortion will immediately be illegal in every state. But this is a chemical abortion drug that does have some questions. We know that the abortion issue has always been politicized, and we know what that does to the approval process at the FDA. We've seen how public health can't be trusted as it used to be because of what happened during COVID. This is a perfectly reasonable thing to ask a judge to do. And now with the appellate process in place, we don't need federal agencies ignoring judicial rulings. They can go through the appellate process. They're going to go through the appellate process. It can go all the way to the Supreme Court. So again, this idea of elected officials suggesting that agencies can ignore federal judge rulings is very dangerous. That's the real danger here. And again, I think this is all connected to trying to get the American public all worked up because of Dobbs.
On a different note, as we heard from Owen Jensen, a Walter Reed Medical Center reportedly sent a cease and desist order to the Franciscan Friars who provided pastoral care there and instead placed a secular organization in charge of its Catholic pastoral care. Julie, what do you think is happening here, and what type of impact could this have on Catholic patients?
This is, in my view, this is 100% an extension of the anti-Catholic behavior we're seeing from the Biden administration. We know that the Biden Justice Department prosecuted a pro-life father who was simply protecting his son in front of an abortion clinic. We've seen that the Justice Department has investigated Catholic fathers, particularly those who go to a Latin mass, and now this latest act out of Walter Reed. I think the word incomprehensible is perfect. And what's so sad here is reports are coming out of Walter Reed saying that there aren't priests on that campus to hear confessions, to give blessings and last rites. This is absolutely outrageous.
Julie, some other news I want to get to. As you know, former college swimmer Riley Gaines was verbally and physically assaulted at a San Fransisco college after she spoke out against biological males competing in women's sports. And now she is reportedly going to sue San Francisco State University. I want to get your take on all this.
It was an awful video. It's online, and I do encourage people to watch it because she was assaulted. She was escorted out of the room and put in another room where she was held hostage for 3 hours. Those people, those students stood outside. There were 20, 30 students who stood outside that room, demanded money. They said things to her like, "Let's make her lose her pride." Riley Gaines is a hero for standing up for women's sports. She is a hero for standing up for women's rights and for what we're seeing in our culture today, which is the erasure of women in this country. It's terribly frightening, and I think people should understand that when the Biden administration issues rules that transgender identified students who are male-bodied are going to be able to participate in women's sports, and then they say, you can object. I mean, you can object. This is what happens when you object. This kind of abuse and assault is what happens when women object to this. So this is really the feminist issue of our time, and Riley Gaines has been incredibly brave in standing up to the bullies.
Julie, we have about a minute or left, but I quickly want to get to this, kind of staying along the same lines. Social media influencer Dylan Mulvaney, who is a biological male who identifies as a woman, is now the face of a number of companies. Some of the most recent endorsements include Nike's athletic women's wear and a women's skincare brand, Olay. Why do you think these brands chose Mulvaney to represent their women's products, and what kind of message do you think this sends to biological women?
Well, first of all, it is outrageous that this is happening, but this is part of the social credit system that's been put in place by organizations like the Human Rights Foundation, which basically tell companies that we won't complain about you if you do X, Y, and Z. And generally that means promoting the gay agenda, the LGBTQ agenda. And so you get these kinds of things where they give a contract to a male-bodied, biological male, gender transitioning individual who does not have female body parts. So he's promoting things like tampons and really strictly women's products. The other thing I want to say is Dylan Mulvaney does not identify as a woman. He identifies as a young girl. That makes it even more creepy. I don't know if you've seen a lot of his videos, but he's always like, it's day 100 of being a girl. He always says girl. There's something deeply disturbing about Dylan Mulvaney, and people need to understand when these companies do this stuff, it does get back to kids. It influences kids. It makes it seem normal. It normalizes truly mentally disturbing behavior. So this is not cute. It's not funny. It is turning women into a minstrel show. It's incredibly sexist. And I hope companies wake up to a demographic of people out there who want their products. And that's true, real women.
And we're going to leave it right there. Julie, great to be with you. Always great to get your insights. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.